Coming up, the Tzu Chi Foundation's DaAi Radio celebrate its 30th birthday. We meet Dr. Huang Chun-Jen, a recipient of the 4th New Taipei City Public Health Department Award. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. To mark the 30th anniversary of DaAi Radio, a celebration was held at the TV station, during which many listeners finally met the radio program host in person. Here's more.
At the celebration of the 30th anniversary of DaAi TV's broadcasting department, volunteers and staff of DaAi TV performed the sign language song From Vow to Action.
At this special occasion, I feel honored to take part. Everyone knows it portrays the story of Dharma Master Jian Zhen, who persevered in reaching his destination.
Looking back at all these years, the seasoned manager of the department, Ci Yun, feels grateful.
The master's teachings are very good. We carried out what the master asked us to do and spread her teachings. I've never regretted following the master's footsteps.
Domestic and overseas volunteers also seized the occasion to meet the radio program hosts in person. Among them, many are regular listeners.
I can listen to the master's sermon at 9 a.m. and the complete sermon at 4 p.m. Then there's a rerun at 8 a.m. So I can listen to the master 3 times a day. I welcome the master to my house every day.
The staff of the department also made grand vows. 30 years marks a milestone and a new beginning for these media professionals to continue spreading wholesome teachings to different corners of the world.
Among those overseas Tzu Chi volunteers who came to Taiwan for certification this year is a volunteer from Malaysia, Dan Mi-ling. Let's take a look at how she became a Tzu Chi volunteer.
Dan made it to Malaysia, came across Tzu Chi in 2005 because of Jin's aphorisms.
I
saw a storybook talking about willpower, so I chose it and thought to read it to my kids as bedtime stories.
At first, she thought to guide her kids with Jin's aphorisms, but ended up inspiring herself instead. Later, after being invited to a Tzu Chi recycling workshop, she started her Bodhisattva path.
I was deeply impressed by the video they showed, so I thought to join Tzu Chi and start doing recycling.
As her parents divorced when she was young, Dan was brought up by her father, but she has never forgotten her mom's words and is now being someone helpful through Tzu Chi.
I've done what my mom wanted me to do. She told me to be a helpful person when I grow up. So the Master's Dharma has given me the opportunity to help others, which makes me someone who is helpful.
Now Dan does recycling work in her hometown. She hopes that she can set an example to guide her children to care for the earth.
For many people, getting certified as Tzu Chi volunteers marks a commitment to Tzu Chi's missions, as well as a vow to walk the correct path in life. In our next report, we meet 2 volunteers from Malaysia who have been transformed since joining Tzu Chi and are about to start a new chapter of their lives as certified volunteers.
Before I joined Tzu Chi, I had a lot of bad habits and I did not care for my family.
However, Chen Jiachuan changed. After seeing how Tzu Chi volunteers help his family after his wife got into a car accident in 2013, he then adopted a vegetarian diet in addition to quitting smoking and drinking. Also, he began volunteering with his wife.
He used to be hot-tempered and would yell at people. After joining Tzu Chi, he changed.
I bring home gratitude, respect, and love that I learned in Tzu Chi. You cared for us for 30 years, so I will be caring for you for the next 30 years.
Joining Tzu Chi, Chen has learned to cherish his marriage. Both the couple has come to Taiwan to get their certification together. In their certification camp, they're surprised to learn that Tzu Chi's etiquette can be applied in daily life.
I almost did not have to do anything at home since my wife did them all. I'm delighted to come here. The Master taught us to be responsible for ourselves, lessening our family's burden.
Hoping to practice Tzu Chi's principles in life, Chen said he still has a lot to learn.
By joining Tzu Chi, we learn to shape our moral character. It is more important to learn to be a decent person.
I have so many bad habits. It was difficult for me to suddenly change. I gambled and drank heavily. One time, I gambled away about $30,000 in one night.
Another volunteer from Malaysia, Ye Tianci of Kuala Lumpur, went astray in his younger days because of his background.
Since I was 10 until I reached adolescence, my friends and family members led lives like that, so I did not realize that was wrong. I do not want the same for my son.
Gambling, running a nightclub, and drinking only brought him temporary gratification, but could not bring Ye peace of mind.
Living a life like that has a lot of pressure. You will think about what you lose every day. I've left those days behind. Now I earn money by working hard, and I can say it out loud at home or to anyone. One time, I drank till midnight, and I told my friend that since the next day was recycling day, I would like to try to be a good person for just one day.
With this simple thought, Ye began recycling and gradually volunteered more frequently. As his environment changed, so did his mindset. Learning to tame his bad temper, Ye grew closer to his family.
His temper has changed. He listens to us now.
Changing his bad habits, Ye wants to stay upright, especially after he gets certified.
I sincerely wish him can start a new life as he puts on the blue uniform.
The master said, "Do not be afraid of making mistakes. Beware if you do not learn from them."
Continuing on our reports on volunteers getting certified this year, we meet Hao Jinlan and Chen Yiming of Malaysia and learn what inspired both of them to walk steadfast on the Tzu Chi path.
The 90 members recruited by the late volunteer Chen Si-ling has been the fruit of her labor over the past 3 years. Her spirit of love and compassion to help those in need still lives on in her parents' heart.
Whenever we have Tzu Chi events, whether it is visiting nursing homes or orphanages, she always offered to drive us there.
Whenever I needed to go somewhere, she was always just a phone call away. She always came to pick me up.
Chen Yiming, along with his wife and daughter, were supposed to be certified together this year. The three even signed up to take part in the musical adaptation of the Water Repentant Sutra. Unfortunately, 1 month before the performance, Si-ling passed away unexpectedly.
My wife wanted to withdraw from the sutra performance and told me to withdraw as well. I told her we can't, because if we did, Si-ling would be very disappointed.
Setting aside their heartache and sorrow, Si-ling's parents fulfilled her wish of taking part in the Sutra musical. Now 4 months later, Chen Yiming and his wife continue to walk the Tzu Chi path with resolve and determination.
This is her wish, so I will continue walk this path. This is what she wanted us to do, so we won't stop.
I hope that once I receive my certification, I can be more involved and take on more responsibilities. If we ever get to establish a recycling station here one day, and I'm still around, I want to be the first station head.
Although Si-ling is no longer by their side, her selfless spirit has given her parents the strength and motivation to continue working on behalf of those in need.
I hope she will return soon and continue her affinity with Tzu Chi.
Getting up early to start the household chores was something Cao Jinlan never did in the 40 years of her marriage. Her change came about 4 years ago when she signed up for Tzu Chi's volunteer training.
好像一个规律，这样现在规定要做这样。没有人规定你啊。我自己又规定自己。不做会怎样？好像很不习惯啊，看到。
In the past, Tao never lifted a finger around the house. She'd rather spend her days singing or gambling with friends. On one occasion, she gambled for 24 hours straight.
She gambled from the evening to morning. Even when it was time for tea, she was still at it and told me she wasn't hungry and that I should pack her something. She didn't even wash up and gambled into the afternoon. She didn't stop there. She then continued gambling into the night. I lost count of the hours she spent at the gambling table.
Tao's turning point in life came when her friend invited her to practice recycling.
The one time my friend invited me to practice recycling with her, I told her I'd go another time. But then she invited me another 2 or 3 times. After that, I couldn't say no, so I agreed to go with her.
Who would have imagined that Tao would take a liking to recycling? Over time, Tao gave up gambling and encouraged those around her to spend more time doing charity instead.
The biggest change in her is that she tells us to practice doing good deeds.
She inspired me. She told me not to gamble so much and encouraged me to spread my time helping other people instead. So now I'm following her footsteps.
Leaving her past behind, now that Tao has become a certified Tzu Chi volunteer, she promises to only look forward and never look back.
As a part of Master Zheng Yin's year-end tour around Taiwan, she stopped in Tzu Chi Guandu grounds on November 15th to hear the sharing of a few different groups. Here's more.
Visiting the Tzu Chi Guandu grounds, Director General of the National Police Agency Chen Guoen and his wife and Beito Precinct's Chief of Police thanked Master Zheng Yin for the 300 Jinsi folding beds Tzu Chi donated back in September.
Be it our assembly hall or basement, the officers can now rest on the Jinsi folding beds during their breaks. We're especially grateful. Thank you.
本来呀，人人都要互相感恩啊。没有警察来维持社会的秩序呢，那么这个社会就是要平安啦，也很难哦。
Two victims of the Body Water Park explosion also came to personally thank the master and the volunteers for all the assistance they have received since the incident. The selfless love from Tzu Chi has also been extended to scholarship recipient Chen Xuanyu and her family for the past 10 years.
Some people have asked me, are you going to give back to society when you grow up? I said, of course. I don't think the volunteers realize that their assistance has given me such push forward.
Next, parents of a Tzu Chi youth basketball team member shared on how being in Tzu Chi's big family has helped change their family's relationships for the better.
My eldest son has multiple learning disabilities. In the past, my teaching method towards him was more violent. I would hit or yell at him when he didn't understand my directions.
Now our entire family spends every weekend doing some sort of Tzu Chi activities. We are grateful for the companionship that Tzu Chi volunteers have given us.
每一个人自己的本分事做啊，我相信呢会快乐一点。
As volunteers carry out Tzu Chi's missions across the island, Master Zheng Yin finds solace in knowing that the ripple of love continues to reach more corners of society.
In our series to recognize noteworthy doctors in Taiwan, today we introduce you to Dr. Cai Yaozhou, who is a urologist at the Taipei City Hospital. As we have reported in the past, Dr. Cai was only recently recognized by New Taipei City for his contribution to medical research. The Singapore laparoscopy that he developed has already benefited over 500 patients.
Mr. Zhang, who is nearly 50 years old, lived with adrenal tumor for 8 years. The constant high blood pressure, fatigue, dry mouth, and palpitations affected his life and work. Thankfully, Dr. Cai Yaozhou was able to cure him through single-port laparoscopy.
See here? There are 2 growths here about 2 centimeters each. And this is the CT scan of the same section after the surgery. See, there is nothing here.
I feel that my overall health and functions are at least younger by about 20 years. That's what it feels like.
Dr. Tsai of Taipei Tzu Hospital was the first doctor in Taiwan to pioneer the procedure from the traditional three-port laparoscopy and also the first to apply it on hernia repair surgery. He then subsequently made record by performing adrenal and bladder tumors removal and sympathectomy using SPL.
Through using SPL to remove adrenal gland, we discovered that patients will feel less pain and won't have to stay in the hospital as long.
Besides his amazing skills, Dr. Tsai was also the first in the world to pioneer the sleeve that maintains pneumoperitoneum during SPL, which ensures the success of the surgery.
At the time, there wasn't a device for sale anywhere in the world that helps maintain pneumoperitoneum during surgery. So we came up with this single-port sleeve that seals in the air like a balloon, so we could perform the procedure in a very stable environment.
Dr. Tsai has already performed over 500 cases of urology-related surgeries by using the technique and continues to improve on it. He wishes that the procedure may one day be able to be performed by robotic arms.
In our following report, we meet another praiseworthy doctor, Huang Chun-Jen, who heads up the anesthesiology department at the Taipei Tzu Hospital and is also the director of the hospital's medical education division. Recently, he was recipient of the 4th New Taipei City Public Health Department Award in recognition of his contribution to the field of medicine.
Administering anesthetics for an organ transplant patient, Taipei Tzu Hospital Dr. Huang Chun-Jen is often called upon during major surgeries. Apart from his involvement in clinical practice, Dr. Huang also devotes much of his time to teaching and research.
I find that the greatest joy teaching brings me comes from the fact that I'm able to help my counterparts advance and progress. We focus our research on clinical studies, which really helps to enhance our understanding and knowledge of a certain medical situation or disease. So it really works to our benefit.
Dr. Huang began his research journey after encountering a bottleneck during his clinical practice, which over time became his passion as well. Over the past 2 decades, he has taught countless students and published numerous works. And in the eyes of his students, Dr. Huang is a very dedicated and selfless teacher.
He is one teacher that has by far inspired me the most, not only in clinical research, but to become a better person. His teachings have motivated and guided me all these years. He has always been so selfless and very willing to share his knowledge and experience. It is a rare quality for anyone to have.
虽然有效，但是它没有办法100%有效，是因为剂量不够强。
Dr. Shi Bingchen began learning alongside Dr. Huang when he was still a resident doctor. Although it was a lot of hard work and extremely stressful, the results were very rewarding.
Whether it was reporting or my knowledge of clinical practice, I was able to progress very quickly thanks to Dr. Huang. He spends his evenings going over our research papers and often works late into the night. He treats all his students with the same selflessness. He is a remarkable teacher.
As the Chinese proverb goes, it takes 10 years to grow a tree, but 100 years to nurture people. Recently, a recipient of the 4th New Taipei City Public Health Department Award for his contribution to medical research and education, Dr. Huang says he will continue to cultivate more talented doctors so to safeguard the health of even more patients.
Months ago, we brought you the story of Janet Lin and Geraldine, twin sisters, who underwent a successful separation surgery at the Hualien City Hospital in March. Now, more than 6 months later, you may be wondering how the girls are doing. Next, we followed Tzu volunteers in the Philippines as they traveled to a village in Pangasinan to visit the twins and their family. Traveling through a small village of Pangasinan, today Tzu volunteers in the Philippines are here to visit formerly conjoined twins Jenny Lin and Geraldine. The good affinity between the twins and Tzu volunteers began earlier this year. In January, Jenny Lin and Jerlin traveled to Taiwan with their mother to receive a separation surgery at the Tzu Chi Hospital. Following a successful surgery, the twins were discharged in April. Now, 6 months later, the volunteers are here to check up on them.
Now they can walk, run, and even climb trees. They also play with other kids.
Tzu Chi volunteers present the family with a stuffed toy, powdered milk, rice, a Jingsu portable bed, and Tzu Chi's eco-friendly blanket. Next, Tzu Chi volunteers take the girls for a walk to check on their condition.
Manila is very far away from Pangasinan. Although it's a long distance by car, the volunteers still came to visit us.
Tzu Chi volunteers also take the twins to a shopping mall to buy some toys. Surrounded by love, the volunteers hope Jenny Lin and Jill Lin can grow up to be happy children. On the last day of the trip to Xiamen, China, Tzu Chi Medical Mission CEO Dr. Lin Junlong and Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital Honorary Superintendent Chen Yinghe seized the opportunity to visit Yang Xiaodong and Chen Tuanzhi, both of whom previously underwent successful corrective surgeries at the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital. Both Chen Tuanzhi and Superintendent Chen have been waiting for this moment for half a year. Following 7 corrective surgeries at the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital in Taiwan to treat the deformity of her knees, Chen Tuanzhi from Xiamen, China returned home in January. After months of rehabilitation, now Tuanzhi can walk without a walker. Today, she makes it a point to welcome Superintendent Chen personally.
We see that Tuanzhi can stand longer on her own, and that her walking posture is getting closer to normal. She no longer has to use a cane when walking shorter distances or around the house. I believe she will keep improving in the days to come.
Thank you for curing my daughter. Now she can walk properly. I want to thank Master Zheng Yan and Tzu Chi volunteers for caring about Tuanzhi. All of us are so happy and grateful.
In May of 2013, Yang Xiaodong of Xiamen traveled to Taiwan to seek medical care, and after 3 years, Xiaodong has regained his mobility. Today, Xiaodong thoughtfully rides his bike to the entrance of the village to welcome this group of special guests.
I'm so happy that I got the opportunity to receive treatment in Hualien, Taiwan, because it wasn't easy. I'm also extremely thankful to Tzu Chi volunteer Yan Huimei and Superintendent Chen Yinghe because they took really good care of me.
Thanks to the skillful hands of Superintendent Chen Yinghe and his team, both Chen Tuanzhi and Yang Xiaodong have the chance to walk towards a brighter future. We go to Taidong, Taiwan at the end of the show, where teachers and students of Xingshen Kindergarten and their parents visited the local Jinsi Hall. During the visit, Tzu Chi volunteers not only taught these special guests a sign language song, but also presented them with peace charms and desserts. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.